Republicans are still really, really weak, man. They roll over every chance they get, they roll over. They get absolutely outplayed and abused by Democrats who have proven time and time and time again, man, that there is nothing they won't do. There's nothing they won't break. There's nothing they will not abuse for power. And on top of that, I mean, they stick together. They run the play, they stick together, and they're creative. Republicans are not creative, and they generally do not stick together. But I don't know. That might actually be changing because while Donald Trump is gagged from even speaking up for himself while he gets just trashed through the trashiest case our justice system has ever seen, Republicans are actually getting pretty creative and they're actually standing together. And they figured out that they can't gag all of them.
Ladies and gentlemen of America, this trial is a joke. This thing is a farce. We were in there all morning. Michael Cohen basically sat there and said, yeah, he invoiced legal expenses. The Trump campaign, the Trump organization, not the campaign, paid out money in legal expenses. Where's the crime? There is no crime. The only crime that's happening here is this Democrat judge and the Democrat Party prosecuting their political rival right in the middle of a presidential election. The crime here is that the issues facing our nation are not being addressed by the Democrats, but they want to go after Donald Trump.
That's just a taste, man. And I'm going to show you quite a bit. Every single bit of this stuff, in my opinion, completely true, completely spot on. And they're finally bringing the fight to the people who were foolish enough to pick such a stupid fight in the beginning. These Democrat operatives in the media, man, they do not like it, especially over at MSNBC, where they believe that Trump is responsible for this. They think that Trump has outsmarted everyone. And they want to find a way for him to be held accountable through his own unconstitutional gag order for anything and everything these other Republicans say outside the courtroom, which is pretty remarkable coming from the people who call Republicans authoritarians at every single possible opportunity they get.
Very, very depressing. Both Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama said they were just there to support a friend. But both then criticized Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen. Vance also attacked the judge's daughter, repeating claims made by the former president. Joe, yes. Courtrooms aren't supposed to be like Studio 54 and 79. They are a little drab. They are a little boring. They are, in fact, a little depressing, but also just the ongoing debasement of these men. I mean, he was the leader of young men for his whole life as a head football coach. No. J.D. Vance is a United States Marine, for God's sake, where it's all about honor, and you just watch them performatively outraged on behalf of the man, I guess, who they want to be the vice president or close to power or something. It's very sad.
It's different stories for both of these men.
Isn't it amazing to watch these people? They say it's sad. I mean, of all the things that are sad, the fact that a presidential candidate is being charged with a reimagined 8-year-old misdemeanor, that's sad, right? The fact that a convicted perjurer is the state star witness is insanely sad. And the fact that high-ranking federal official left the Justice Department to run this prosecution, those things are sad. I mean, all these things are sad and shocking. But if you're MSNBC, what's sad is that Republicans are actually allowed to talk about it. That's what MSNBC thinks is sad. But I don't think they think that's half as sad as the fact that no one seems to actually care about this trial. No one undecided, at least. The only people that care are people like us who just still honestly cannot believe what we're seeing happen. And then the truly Trump deranged. I mean, those people care. Undecided people, they do not care. And I think that the reason they don't care, if I had to guess, is that they can't see it. We have to read about it. There's no cameras allowed. They can't see it. But CNN, they really, really want you to see it. They want you to see it so badly that they're going to act it out for you. I mean, it's just really bad. Finally admitting that CNN is not in the news business. They are in show business, and it's really, really bad show business.
Take you actually inside the courtroom. We're going to page through word for word the most tense, the most revealing, and really the most crippling testimony for the former president.
And then we're going to analyze where the prosecution won today, where the government missed some opportunities to bolster its case. There's a lot ahead, so let's start with Joey Jackson reading as Michael Cohen and Mercedes Cohen as prosecutor Susan Hoffinger. This exchange here is about the payment itself. Take it away.
Now, after you learned from Dylan Howard and from Keith Davidson about the Stormy Daniels story and are wanting to publish that story and the conversations about purchasing that story, did you speak to Mr. Trump?
I did.
Can you tell us, first of all, why did you speak to Mr. Trump about it?
Because it was a matter that affected him, and because that was what I always did, which was to keep him abreast of everything.
Was this also a serious matter at that time?
A very serious matter.
Dude, what? What the hell is that? I think we got confirmation, man. CNN, they have given up on whatever plan they had to move to the center. They are now in a full sprint race to the bottom with MSNBC. I don't know what that was. I don't know what to say about that. That's pretty bad. That's pretty tough to watch. I don't think that's going to actually help anyone care about this deal. Probably will do the opposite. I've been reading the testimony on live tweets from Inner City Press, and reading it myself, tweet by tweet, is more exciting than whatever the hell that was. But anyway, it just shows you, man, this stuff is breaking liberal media brains. The same people that told you that Donald Trump is an idiot who can't remember his wife's name, they're now telling you that he's an evil super genius who's outsmarting the courts, which, I don't know. I'm not sure whose idea this is, but I will tell you, this is a pretty damn good idea.
You just noted that the judge has been a Democratic donor. I believe it was to the tune of $35. And then you also mentioned his daughter and her political work. That was something also that the former president repeatedly attacked him for and attacked her for on social media until his gag order that he's under right now was expanded to include members of the judge's family and also members of the prosecution's family. Did Donald Trump ask you to come out and criticize the judge's daughter?
No, not whatsoever. I'm here completely as a volunteer. I'm here because I care about the future of this country and where it's going. But I think it's fine if someone wants to be a Democratic operative and make millions of dollars, but it's sort of been a simple thing. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of judges in Manhattan. Just recuse yourself if you're a judge who's got a family member that's making money off of controversies like this. I think the public and justice would be better served. I mean, it would be a simple thing. Just recuse yourself. There's no issue with someone being a Democrat operative. The issue is that
Governor, he asked whether or not he should recuse himself from this after Trump and the legal team made a motion for him to do so, and he was told that he did not need to recuse himself, that he didn't have any conflict of interest that prevented him from overseeing this trial. I mean, you were inside that court this morning. Did he seem fair to you?
I think that it was, we saw a prosecution this morning, one question after another leading the witness. And I think anybody that was there could see that was, well scripted and well rehearsed. I think everybody feels like people that know Michael Cohen are seeing a different Michael Cohen. But it's not really what's going on. I'm standing here on the street and I'm looking at this massive press in both directions going out there. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, does the outcome of this case affect any Americans that are facing, Joe Biden's inflation, that are, trying to figure out how to put, food on the table and gas in their car or pay their electricity bill? And no, and that's why, it doesn't help solve the issue with China. It doesn't help solve the issue with the wars that are the proxy wars we're in with Russia and Iran.
Yeah, no, she doesn't want to talk about that. She doesn't want to talk about China. She doesn't want to talk about inflation. She does not want to talk about Joe Biden, especially. She wants to talk about porn stars, and she wants to talk about misdemeanor election interference. And all she wants these guys to admit that Donald Trump is behind this. And you know what? He probably is. And it's just another example of him outplaying and outmaneuvering Democrats at every single opportunity. Whether it's his record-breaking rally in very, very blue New Jersey, right on the shore, or, turning weaponized court cases literally into ratings boosts. I mean, the dude is showing that he is a winner.
And Vivek, who's here right now so he can speak for himself, he said this is a sham trial. It's politically motivated. It's an assault on the leading candidate for U.S. president. I would expect he would say something good, actually, so I won't go through the rest, but he's here. He's going to talk to you. The Speaker of the House is here. We have Byron Donalds. Corey is here. We have a lot of great people here to talk to you.
You got to hand it to him, man. It's a pretty strong chess move. He's just going to let those guys say it and just quote him. And you can't fault the guy for this. He's got to find a way, right? I mean, you can't fault him for any of it. Everything he does and everything that happens in the world as a result of bad policy just makes these Democrats more and more desperate. I think they realize, at least the ones that can do very, very simple math, they realize with every passing day, that's just another day closer to another Trump presidency. And I think they're right. And as usual, no one says it better than Vivek Ramaswamy.
I want to thank my colleagues, Governor Burgum, Congressman Mills, and Congressman Donalds for laying out the political backdrop here. This is a politicized persecution that is nakedly apparent. What I want to do is dive a little bit deeper into what we actually learned today in that courtroom. What do we see in there? First of all, I learned a lot from being in there in person. It is one of the most depressing places I have been in my life, but it is fitting because the only thing more depressing than the environment of that courtroom is what's actually happening in there. It's straight out of a Kafka novel. The prosecution's main strategy appears to be to bore the jurors into submission. And if you look in that direction, sadly, it may appear to actually be working. Now, I would like for anybody here in the press, anybody at home, anybody at MSNBC or the media afterwards, to clearly state what exactly is the crime that Donald Trump committed. Oh, wait. We have not heard a good answer to that question. It has been vague until today. You heard Michael Cohen's testimony, after which I would say it is less clear than ever what that crime actually was. They'll say falsifying business records. Well, let's look at who did we learn falsified business records today? Yet, what, hour, 2 hours, felt like it could have been 7 hours, of Michael Cohen talking about how he falsified business records. Okay, so you have a guy who has been a perjurer in the past that is now saying he falsified business records. What is the crime that Donald Trump committed? Now, it appears to be what they might allege is some sort of bookkeeping error or whatever. The real bookkeeping that we need accounting of is Judge Merchan's own family member collecting millions of dollars as a Democratic operative, using the existence of this trial as a fundraising ploy for Democrats. This is unconscionable. Imagine if the same shoe fit the other foot. Imagine if it was Joe Biden that was on trial. You had a Republican judge whose son was collecting millions of dollars as a Republican operative. What would you all be saying?
We know exactly what they'd be doing, man. They would be burning down the freaking city. You know, they'd be losing their minds. You got to remember, these are the same people. They hate Judge Aileen Cannon in Florida, and they've hated her since the documents case hit her desk. And it's not because she's grifting money. It's not because her family stands to benefit. It's not because she's a political donor. It's because she was appointed during the Trump administration. So they got one judge who they want gone because of when she got the job. And by the time this thing is done, they'll want statues of this judge here in New York. And, you know, as I watch Vivek, man, I mean, this is a good move. Every news camera in the world is showing this. And these are facts that no one has been brave enough to say. And no one's been allowed to hear ever since they gagged Donald Trump. And now people get to hear it. And depending on where they get their news, they've never heard these things before.
This would not be justice. This is injustice at its worst. So let's go even a layer deeper, right? Because let's go even a layer deeper, actually. The alleged crime here is supposedly, they try to point to this every day, that he does not actually use campaign funds, that he used personal funds. Well, let's get this straight. Suppose Donald Trump had used campaign funds to make a personal expense. They'd be going after him for that. So if they're going to get him going or they're going to get him coming, that is the best proof that this is a politicized sham. Let's go through it piece by piece. If you tell somebody to go buy you a suit and you want to look good on television because that'll affect the voters, the way voters vote for you, you know what? They prosecute politicians if they use campaign funds to buy a suit. If they say, go get a haircut, if you use campaign funds to get a haircut because you want to look good to the voters, they will actually prosecute you for using campaign funds for a personal expense. Yet the entire legal theory of this case, the whole case that Alvin Bragg has brought, depends on one premise for them to charge this as a felony, is that Donald Trump somehow should have used campaign funds to make an allegedly personal payment. Yet if he had done that, their case against him would be even stronger. This is garbage. That is the best proof that you have that if they're going to get him Cohen or get him coming, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. This is a sham. This is not the United States of America. This is some third-rate banana republic. If this were happening in another country, we would be laughing at them as a sham democracy. I am ashamed as an American citizen.
It is shameful, man. And the world is watching, dude. And the world is freaking laughing at us. I know that our Trump deranged liberal friends, they really They're crazy enough to believe all the propaganda that Joe Biden has brought respect back to America, that we're once again the moral leaders of the world. That is a pure freaking fantasy. The world is probably never going to trust us again. After what we put them through for the last 4 years, after what we've shown that we're capable of here at home, they will never trust us. America has fallen, basically. I mean, we have a chance to save it, but we only get one chance. And even then, I'm not convinced that we can bring it back.
To sit here in a courtroom watching the former leader of the free world, and let's be honest, likely next leader of the free world, sitting with the indignity in this dingy third-rate courtroom with fourth-rate prosecutors and a fifth-rate lawyer on the stand as a witness, who actually is violating attorney-client privilege left and right. Nobody's even talking about that. So this is a shame. Shame on the spirit in our country's history, but we will get through it and be stronger, because you know who ultimately actually cast the vote on this case? It's not just the jurors in that jury box. It's every one of you at home. It's every American who votes this November to say no to the weaponization of justice. And if you're at home, you may say, you know what, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump's ever said. You know what, I may not agree with some of his policies even though they were great policies for 4 years. But you do agree, whether you are Democrat or Republican or black or white or gay or straight or man or woman, that our justice system should be blind to politics. That regardless of whether your last name is Biden or Trump, regardless of whether you've been a politician or not, you get a fair shake in our own legal system. And when you have a prosecutor who campaigned on the pledge of going after Trump and then keeps his campaign pledge, when you have a judge whose kids are collecting money from Democratic operatives by fundraising off the very trial that judge is presiding over, and then telling the U.S. president that he's subject to a gag order, that he can't talk about it, that is not justice. That is a bastardization of what this country was founded on. And I'm here, and all of us are here as friends of Donald Trump, supporting him in our personal capacity, sharing our opinions. That's why we're here today. But I hope every American at home who isn't able to be in that courtroom is able to see what's actually happening there. And when you do, we will have a landslide of historic proportion this November if every American understands the injustice that's playing out in that courtroom today. So may God bless our country. I pray for our future, and let's pray for our country being stronger on the other side of this disgusting sham prosecution. Doug?
Haven't seen Vivek in a while, man. Haven't done a video on Vivek. I really, really like Vivek. That dude is a flamethrower, and he's absolutely right. Everything he said is absolutely right. The entire Republican team, man, they are playing for a win. And I said when I started this video, they're not exactly known for standing together. They aren't exactly known for being creative. And they have not, as long as I've been watching, they have not been willing to fight the Democrats where they're at on their turf and at their own game, right? I think that's changing. And I am really liking this look. I'm liking the plan. I think it's a winning plan. But that's just my take, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.